Hey guys, our 5-star journey continues, and today we're gonna look at the characters Dikke, Balloon Party and LaSource. Starting off by looking at Dikke. So let's jump right into battle, and Dikke is very straightforward and very easy to play. She has her incantation number 1. That is the main and core reason why you would play Dikke. Her main role is the healer. The problem is, as you might be able to see, that yeah, you heal all of your allies, but the numbers are teeny tiny low. The heal is based on Dikke's attack stat. It takes 70% of her attack stat. That is not even 100%. Even 100% wouldn't be good, because Dikke's attack stat is pretty low, as she's a 5-star. So as a 5-star, you would want to have flat healing and not percentage healing based on your attack. So this heal doesn't hold up and is pretty bad. Then her incantation number 2 is a damage attack that deals the 200 mental damage that, yeah, if it's a 1-target attack for a 5-star, it should deal 200% of damage, right? So yeah, that number is alright. It is, compared to her here, not too low, at least.
An eye for an eye.
And then Dikke has, yeah, let me call it an interesting ultimate. Let me unlock it real quick and then we're gonna talk about it. And there we have it. So what her ultimate does is it deals 400% damage, and it's a 1-target attack. That is too low. If you watch my previous videos, then you already know that if a 5-star character has a 1-target ultimate ability, it should deal at least 550% damage and then have some bonuses added onto it. The quote-unquote bonus that is added onto here would be that you cleanse, you purify every single debuff on yourselves, and this includes control statuses, which control statuses are not always included in effects like this. So that is the reason why the damage is so low. And additionally, not only do you cleanse all the negative statuses, all the debuffs on yourself, but you also enter immunity for 1 round, which means for 1 round the debuffs and control statuses and everything like that cannot be afflicted to you. But still, if you like break it down and look at the full picture here, then you would rather have it so that you don't cleanse the debuffs and you don't get that immunity, but you actually deal the 550% damage. And even if that would be the case, the ultimate would still be bad, you know. So yeah, you can see like the numbers on Dikke here are very low, except for her incantation number 2, which is okay numbers, and that's the whole problem. Dikke is like crazy outclassed in terms of numbers by many other characters, and that's her issue. She's not too bad for beginner players, for new players, because she is a hybrid. She provides decent amount of damage to your team and somewhat of healing as well. So she is kind of a jack of all trades, a little bit, not quite, but almost, you know. So you can probably already tell I have a really hard time to really say something positive about Dikke. Unfortunately, I love the character, but her numbers are just outclassed. She doesn't hold up anymore and is hit by power creep. So how do you want to play Dikke? You only play Dikke for the heal, and the heal is not very good to begin with. So that's about Dikke. And then onto Balloon Party, which is also very simple, and also, spoiler alert, a little bit on the mediocre side. So her incantation number 1 is a heal incantation, and this heals all of your allies. But other than Dikke, it is not based onto her attack stat, but instead it is based on how much HP percentage your allies are missing. and 25% of this missing HP percentage is recovered. That is a much better heal than the one from Dikke. Her incantation number 2, that is a one target attack and it deals 160% reality damage. We want to deal 200, so that is not enough. But if the caster has a party balloon or a balloon of innocence, this attack enjoys penetration rate plus 50%. Now, her insight number 3 makes it so that you always gain a party balloon and it is permanent, it will never burst. And that leads to you, whenever you get attacked, you deal a little bit of damage back to your opponent, right? And here it is like stated that it's reduced by 1 stack after it's triggered, but yeah, it's permanent due to her insight 1. One party balloon will always be present on balloon party. So yeah, this attack in a nutshell, it doesn't deal enough damage because it's just a one target attack and it doesn't deal 200% damage. Her heal is pretty good, and then yeah, she has an ultimate which is also pretty bad, but let's unlock it and then read it together. And here we have it. So this is a mass attack, which mass attacks on 5 stars you want to at least deal 300% damage. That is the bare minimum, okay? And you can see again, Balloon Party doesn't do that, she deals 250% damage instead. So that's already not enough. Then you grant a Balloon of Innocence and 1 party balloon to all of your allies, plus you recover 10% of missing HP percentages for the ally with the lowest HP amount percentage, right? You get it. So, Balloon of Innocence is attached to all of your allies. After this ally gets attacked, this balloon bursts. And it makes it so that the ally that is attacked takes 25% less damage and 10% of his missing HP is recovered. Unfortunately, this is not a permanent thing and you only get access to it by using your ultimate that doesn't deal enough damage, you know what I mean? And yeah, the party balloon we already talked about. 1 is permanent on Balloon Party and it makes it so that when she would be attacked, then this balloon bursts and you deal a little bit of damage back to your enemies. And one of these balloons is applied to all of your allies. So, yeah, additionally, if you would upgrade your heal incantation, then yeah, you would of course heal a little bit more for all allies and you gain an additional party balloon. That is not impressive or anything, but if you would upgrade an incantation for Balloon Party, it would obviously be her heal incantation. That is the only reason why you actually would ever play a character like Balloon Party, is for her heal, as it is a pretty good heal. It is, as I said, based on missing HP percentages and not on a very low stat like Dikke would be. So yeah. How do you play Balloon Party? Very simple. You just as for Dikke, pretty much, you are only here to provide your heal incantation, to provide heal to your entire party. And Balloon Party, no pun intended, does this just way better than a character like Dikke would. Problem is, Dikke provides quite a hefty amount of more damage to your party than Balloon Party is. So all in all, Dikke and Balloon Party, they both deal damage and they both heal. Balloon Party is the better healer and deals less damage, but Dikke deals more damage but heals less. So the better character overall is Balloon Party, because what she excels at and the reason why you would put her into your team is the healing. And Balloon Party is a better healer than Dikke, and therefore she's a better character. That's how easy it is. How to play her, same as for Dikke, you heal. Whenever you have your ultimate ready, you use your ultimate and that's it. right? Very simple, very straightforward. So let's move on to LaSource. Okay, now on to LaSource. That is a little bit of an interesting character because it's not actually a 5-star character, it's a 3-star character. That doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because we get her at Portrait 5. I think every new player even unlocks portraits for her really quickly. So everyone should have her at Portrait 5, and that needs to be taken into consideration. But first of all, when you enter the battle, her Insight 1 makes that happen. You grant a debuff to your enemy with the highest amount of attack. So the strongest enemy on the opposing side of the field gets the debuff called You Wish. And it makes it so that he deals 20% less damage and he takes 20% more damage, and this lasts for 3 rounds. That is awesome, because not only does he deal less damage, but he also takes more damage, and so you can get, it helps you getting rid of your strongest opponent pretty quickly in the and you have 3 rounds time to actually accomplish that. That is already pretty amazing. Then she has a incantation number 1. Now this is the same problem that Dikke has, as this is a mass healing. It heals your entire team, but it is based around your attack stat, and that is not a good thing for a 3-star, you know. Of course, like her Insight number 2 increases her healing by 10%, and since you have the portraits, your healing is increased. Then again, you know, it is okay, but yeah, nothing special, all things considered. It's in the same realm of Dikke, and that's not a good thing. Then her incantation number 2 deals 165% damage thanks to her portraits to 2 enemies. Now that would in theory be a good number, because 5-star characters, if they have a mass attack, then they should deal at least 130% damage. Now LaSource does more. The problem is that all this damage is always based around percentages, and the percentages, they count more if you have better stats. Since LaSource is not a 5-star, she doesn't have the stats that a 5-star character would have, and therefore these percentages, they drop in value. Now that is 35% more in terms of percentages, so that makes up for her lack of stats, and the damage this does is actually alright. Now let me unlock her ultimate real quick, and then we talk about what makes LaSource a very good character, very unique and very viable even in some high-end content. And here we have it. It's a 1-target attack. It deals 400% mental damage, you know. You should deal 550 at least for a 5-star that has a 1-target attack for ultimate. Okay, that for in LaSource case, that doesn't matter at all. What is the big kicker here, and what makes LaSource such an awesome character, is that if you have a portraits unlocked, then you deplete 5 Moxie from your opponent. You take 5 Moxie away from 1 target, and that makes her unique, and that is absolutely fantastic, because as I mentioned in my previous video with some other characters as well, some stages they require you to stop your opponent from using their ultimate at all cost, because otherwise you would take a massive amount of damage or even be obliterated by it. And LaSource is a fantastic character to tackle this content because of her ultimate that takes 5 Moxie away. That's every single Moxie taken away from your opponent. That slows them down, that makes them not be able to use their ultimate abilities, and that is the reason, and this is why you would play LaSource in the first place, and that's what makes her very unique and very awesome. No other character in this game has an ability like this. The only character that comes close to matching this is Becorn Bloom, because Becorn Bloom locks your opponent out of their ultimate for 3 turns. But other than that, LaSource is a very good character because of it. She also provides a little bit of heal to your team, and her damage is decent, you know. LaSource is an amazing character, don't sleep on her just because she is a 3-star. And also very viable and very strong for beginners. The heal is good enough in the early game, damage is good in the early game, slowing your enemies down from using their ultimates and stuff. Like, fantastic character. And yeah, that's about LaSource. We can now look at the Psycubes for each and every one of those characters. How you would play LaSource is obvious, right? You heal, you use the damage ability, you gain 5 Moxie as fast as you possibly can, and then you deplete Moxie from whichever enemy has the most amount of Moxie accumulated at the time, right? And as I said, you can even cheese stages in the hardest content in the game with this character. So yeah, thumbs up for LaSource. Let's take a look at the best in slot Psycubes for these 3 characters, starting off with the character Dikke once again. Her best in slot Psycube is Luxurious Leisure, as whenever you would use your ultimate, you would increase your ultimate might by 5%, and this can stack up to 3 times. Unfortunately, you have to use this because no other Psycube would give you as much value as the Psycubes that are meant for healers. They don't quite do it for decay, and that's why you are best off using Luxurious Leisure. Moving on to Balloon Party, her best in slot Psycube is Take the Hard Journey. That is because all of her healing is dependent on missing HP, and she also provides damage taken reduction. That's why it is very beneficial to play her in a way so that her HP is below 40% before you actually use a heal. That is, of course, it can be pretty tough to play around, and you have to constantly keep this in mind. If you do, no other Psycube in this game increases the healing done for Balloon Party as much as this one, and that's why it's the best in slot. If you don't like this mechanic of playing around 40% HP percentages, then use the same Psycube that LaSource will use. So let's talk about that right now. The best in slot Psycube for LaSource is this one right here, the new Psycube called Melodies Old and New, that you can acquire by playing the Fatutu anecdote that is in the game right now. This is because it doesn't require you to play around any weird mechanic or use any very specific incantation type. It just flat out increases your max HP, and you just gain healing done plus 12%, just like that, without even doing anything. Now, that is the best in slot Psycube for pretty much every healer that doesn't have a debuff incantation. Because, let me show you something, and this is also the best in slot for Balloon Party if you don't like the previous one that I featured. Because, let me show you something. Usually, every single healer in the game takes that Inquisitive Deer. That is because it has a huge amount of healing done flat. But a lot of characters can't make use of the amplification here that says when the carrier casts a basic incantation debuff, you know. So that's why right now every healer that takes the Inquisitive Deer Psycube as their best in slot and doesn't have a debuff incantation, those healers now switch to the Fatutu Psycube that I just showed you, to this one right here, Melodies Old and New. So yeah, that's a pretty good side note to take here, and that's it about all 3 characters. That was how to play Dikke, Balloon Party and LaSource. I hope that video was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, don't forget to join the Discord server, and we love this game.